This is the problem we were looking at in class. So we're going to put this in the calculator to do the conditions. We know it's less than 10%. So when you add up this group, we get, this is 51, 90, 79, 43, which gives us a full number of 263. So we would say 263 is less than 10% of all boys and girls. And I do believe it states random in the problem. If you look up here, simple random. So we would say random stated. And then we have to check our expected. So to do that, we're going to use our calculator. I'll show you tomorrow how to do them by hand. So we would go to second, x to the negative 1. We go over to, that's matrix, go to edit. We're going to edit number 1. And this is a 4 by 2. And then we'll fill our numbers in. 24, 27, 40, 50, 52, 27, 13, and 30. And that's all you have to do. So matrix on your calculator again is second, x to the negative 1, and you go over to edit. And if you put them in A every time, it'll be a little easier on you. So we'll go to stat, test. We're going to find the chi-squared, just regular test, which is C. So stat, test, do number C is the regular chi-squared. And it's going to say A is where your observed are. It's going to fill your expecteds into B for you. And then calculate. So all you have to do is put in A. Calculate, we get a chi-squared of 15.8. And a p-value of 0.001. If we did an alpha of 0.05, we would reject the null. So before we go on, we're going to go back to that matrix menu. You'll notice now we have one in B. A 4 by 2, it wasn't there. So if you hit B on number 2, we're going to check all our expecteds. So all our expecteds are bigger than 5 in that list and bigger than 5 in that list. So all of our expecteds are greater than 5. So we're okay there. For this test, the degrees of freedom is a little different. It's rows minus 1 times column minus 1. So for this problem, it's 4 rows and 2 columns. So 4 minus 1 times 2 minus 1 gives us a degree of freedom of 3. And on our table, for our charts, our the last chart, our degree of freedom of 3.05 would be 7.81. So on our picture for chi-squared, 7.81 will be here, so we're obviously in, this is way past that, so we're in the shaded region. So we're going to reject the null, and our conclusion will be the same, and this would mean that the evidence, you would write out your based on the sample still, but the evidence supports that girls and boys feel differently. About school problems. I'm going to turn the page to the other problem. So everything else is the same. So this problem has an urban economist wants to determine whether the region of the U.S. Resident lives is associated with their general level of satisfaction. He selects 150 residents, 18 from regions, and says, are you satisfied or dissatisfied with things that are going in the United States? So this question would be, is there a relationship between where you live and how satisfied you are with life? So on this one, this would be a chi-square test of independence. So in our boxes, we would have our null and our hypothesis. So our null would be that where you live and life satisfaction are independent. And this would be the same, but you would put are not independent. You would do your same conditions on the last problem. This time we already have our totals, so we have 600 is less than 10% of all U.S. residents. I think it does say something about age. 18 years, greater than 18 years. You would have your random. I'm not sure if it was stated again. Yeah, randomly is stated. And then we'll check our expecteds in just a minute. So on our calculator, we're going to go to, this is again a 4 by 3, or 4 by 2 this time. So 2 rows and 4 columns. So our degree of freedom will be 2 minus 1 times 4 minus 1. That's 3 again. So again, if we do a 5%, we'll actually have the same number as the last problem, because at 5%, it's 3 and 3. And then you would put your calculator up. So we would hit second, x to negative 1, arrow over to edit. This time we have a 2 by 4. We're just going to use A, and we'll plug in the numbers. 77, 84, 93, and then enter between each. 93, 83, 73, 66. Go up there and fix that 4 to an 84. 57. And 67. Okay. Hit quit. Stat. Test. Letter C. Regular chi-squared. A and B. Calculate. So our chi-squared is 3.54. Our p-value is 0.316. Okay. So that's in the null area. So we would fail to reject the null. And first thing we need to do then is also check our expected. So I'm going to go back to my matrix. I'm going to pick up B. I'm going to check them all out. Bigger than 5, bigger than 5, bigger than 5. All of them look to be bigger than 5. So that all of our expecteds are greater than 5. And since we fail to reject the null, you would make your statement, but what we're saying there is that the null is true. That's what we're going with. So we would say life satisfaction. So the evidence supports that life satisfaction and where you live are independent. And that is what we would have. So, okay, when you do chi-square, just remember you're going to use the matrix function.